Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hey Atlanta, say hello to Small Business Help from Apple. That's right, we're here to make starting and running your business simpler. From helping you choose the right devices to setting them up hassle-free, we can help you build your business in no time. Speak to a business expert and get the help you need at no cost whatsoever. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.
Bradford, it's Beagrey. He's got to make this count. It's Beagrey. It's 1-1. You'll see a somersault now. You'll get a double. City till I die. City till I die. I know I am. I'm sure I'm Bradford. City till I die. Right. Let's get this show on the road. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to our new era of Bradford City up the... Nope, wrong title. Great start. That's a pound in the pocket. Welcome to a new era of Bradford City Chickens on the Loose podcast with me, Johnny, Stan, Callie, and Diane. But before we do get this actual proper show on the go, just to announce that we have now had like a bit of a new sponsor kind of thing join, and that is the TalkSport Fans Network has joined forces with us. So just to say, this is a bit of a disclaimer. Please be careful what you say, and let's just crack on with the show. So, there's a few things on today. Where are we? Here we go. So we've got, obviously, the live draw with Diane, the EFL Trophy draw. That's why we've started at 6 instead of 7. We've got the post-match Doncaster chat, pre-match AFC Wimbledon chat, the latest news. Obviously, the transfer market has now closed. We've got transfers ins and outs. We've got the weather forecast for the AFC Wimbledon game, what everybody loves, especially Callie. And we have got score predictions. So,
Johnny, sorry to butt in. Can you, Lee Collins has requested to speak. I've said accept, but it's not accepting it from me for some reason.
Won't do it for me either. It won't let me do it.
Oh,
I've tried everything. You won't let me do it.
Yeah, it still couldn't requested, but it won't let me do it either.
Lee, try to basically come out of Twitter and go back in again.
Yeah, leave and come back. It should do it. Hopefully, it'll do it.
Right. And we've also had some absolute massive news come out of the club today. So we're going to start off with that. And basically, they have done a fans forum, but it's not classed as a fan because it's going to be in a studio with no fans. So I'll just get people's thoughts on that, really. Then start off with Stan, obviously.
So actually, just go on to somebody else. Sorry, Johnny, I've just got something to do. Hang on a second.
Bloody hell, we can never do this podcast right, can we? Callie! Callie.
Yeah, sorry, Johnny, I'm back on. I was just putting my tea in the oven. Yeah, so the fans forum today, is that something that they've had with the club from, was it Monday nights or Tuesday nights, whenever?
No, this is different. This is actually, I don't know if you've seen it, Stan. So let me just... Okay. So 1 hour ago, the club tweeted out we will host a fans forum with Graham Alexander, Stephen Gent, and Ryan Sparks next Wednesday in conjunction with BBC Sports.
Right.
And basically, there's been absolutely shed loads of comments on it, and a couple of the comments are, how is it as in a fans forum, are fans invited? Ben has put, you hosting it privately, so there's still not an open fan forum. So basically, there's been people just ridiculing the club about the fans forum.
Right. So I'm assuming then that these will be questions put to the people mentioned via radio leads from fans. Is that correct? With nobody present. Yeah. Nobody present.
So you can email the club anything, or email the Yorkshire, whatever it is, BBC Leeds questions, and they'll probably pick the easy ones, saying he's doing a fantastic job and other bits and bobs.
I think that's what it boils down to, doesn't it? In terms of like how curated the questions are going to be, and they may be, because obviously we've with it being there, how open are they going to be to fans' follow-up questions when it's going live? So I'd be interested to see. I think to a certain degree, I can see possibly why they've done it, to kind of keep it smooth and to maybe, and they are protecting them, Sparks, probably most of all, because he's coming for most criticism, and Gent. So I think the proof will be in the pudding. I think it will all depend on how good BBC Radio West Yorkshire Sports are good, and how good they'll be at asking difficult questions.
Yeah. Have you got any thoughts on it, Diane, if you can hear me, love?
Sorry, I'm having trouble today with my phone, as usual.
Still got no new headphones yet?
No, I haven't got my new headphones yet. I only got paid on Wednesday. And I've put my barrow ticket. Never mind that. That's more important. Never mind. I think they're doing the email questions so they can probably take some of the questions out if they don't like them being said to them. Do you know when they're saying submit your question? That's probably why they're not having anybody there sending it in to them, and then they'll probably say, well, we're not asking that question, we're not asking that question, we're not asking that question. So that's probably why they're doing it. And they probably don't want a load of people having a go at Sparksy and Gent when they're there.
And have you got any thoughts on it, Kelly?
Yeah, I think this is just my own personal opinion. You can always shout me down if you want. Do you think they've got gist of this? I'm going to call him Mr. Independent because I can't remember his name. But this independent group that's collecting all the signatures for RUP, etc. Do you think they've got wind of all this and kind of decided, whoa, wait a minute, that we're going to take this now into our own hands and we're going to do it this way? That's the kind of thing I get from it.
I think honestly, my opinion on this, I think the club look at the hashtag. Everybody looks at the BCAFC hashtag. And they've probably gone, oh shit, we're up shit creek without a paddle here.
Yeah.
So we better arrange something, because it does say in the charter, what people keep going on about, they must arrange new fans forums. It's a bit of a joke that they obviously should do it at Bradford City. Like, look at what City Event and the independent group, the City Independence guy did, and with the City Event. They organised it in 5 minutes.
This is what makes me think that the actual, Ryan, Graham, etc., Stephen, Jen, I think they're worried. I think they're worried that it's got this far now and that fans are proper disgruntled now.
Yeah. I agree with you on this. I think the club have rushed it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I know Jamie Rayner was at the fans forum the other day, and basically, obviously, I reckon they talk to each other, like the TNA and probably Radio Leeds obviously speak to people, and they've probably gone, oh crap, we better organise this. But what's annoyed me, that it's going to obviously be in a studio, and he's going to get probably the easiest questions in the world to answer.
it's going to be all monitored, isn't it? Very much so.
Lee, have you got any thoughts on this?
I think it's just a put-up job. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Loud and clear. You're coming in both of you today.
All right, I've just got no bobblies going up there. Anyway.
Hello? Callie? Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear
Yeah.
me? I think... Yep. Is people having technical difficulties here, so... Are you still there, Lee? Okay, we might move on to Stan. Are you back, Stan?
Yes,
Can you
I'm
hear
back.
me?
Sorry, you're in and out. I don't know whose end, whether it's just Twitter or whatever. But yes, sorry, I haven't heard you for the last couple of points that you've made. But were you asked what questions were you asking? Sorry.
So just asking about the obviously the club have thrown together now some fans forum, and it's going to be on like radio leads, so there's not really going to... They're asking fans questions, but they haven't actually... Fans are not invited, if that makes sense. So it's going to be like behind closed doors.
Yeah. So actually, yeah. So obviously, I think I've got the gist of what people have basically been saying. I think like sort of it's a difficult one. I think what I probably gleaned from what was being said, that they've got wind of Steve's independent forum, which there's no doubt that they have, and you don't know who's listening on these spaces. So I think they've done it, like I say, behind closed doors to protect themselves. And like I said,
right, guys, draws on, and we're at home.
Oh, okay. We head over to Diane.
Yeah, sorry, we're home against Wickham. Let's get him back for FA Cup first round.
Go on, Diane. Nice one.
Yeah, we were there. Sorry, I had to interrupt.
Get in.
And then Blackpool will be playing Peterborough.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're at home.
I am.
Yeah, we've got them at home. Wickham, we're going to get him back for FA Cup.
Oh, let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just had to interrupt. There we go. Over and done with.
Can you hear me?
Wickham.
I can hear you, Lee.
Yeah. You're back on, Lee.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're back on, Lee.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's whatever, but we can hear you, Lee. So, sorry, Stan. We'll go back to you in a minute. So, Lee, what were you saying,
I was saying, I think they've done it the way they've done it because they can control everything that's said, every question that's asked. It's as simple as that. They're in a studio. Who else is going to be there with them? There won't be any fans.
No, it's just Ryan
It's
Sparks.
not an open forum, as many people have said. It's just not. So it's just knee-jerk reaction because they're being accused that they don't tell us anything. They're not going to tell us anything in a closed forum, are they? Will anybody even listen? Don't know.
Probably not.
I think some will out of interest, but don't think we'd make it to end.
When's it on?
I'll just get it up for you now.
It's Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Wednesday at...
And how do we all get onto it?
You apparently have to ask email questions to West Yorkshire Sport at bbc.co.uk. It will be broadcast live on BBC radio leads across DB and digital platforms, including the BBC Sounds app.
And can you do it through Twitter and stuff like that as well?
I'm not sure. Possibly. Radio leads West Yorkshire Sports Daily Show between 6 and 7 answering questions. What I could do is I could probably stream it live on Twitter.
I'm just thinking about what Lee's just said. And basically, I'm with him 100%. But, on a match day, normal match day, West Yorkshire Sport have got our backs. They basically come in. You can text them, you can send Twitter to them, they read them all out and stuff. So I think they won't be too bad with comments, unless some people that will sort of send them stuff. You know, everybody gets a hot head at some particular time. But if we're all sort of there and we're all giving it in good terms, should we say, I don't think there'd be a problem at all.
That'll be right. It just gives them the control, and that's the only worrying thing for me. Because if they get a question comes in, even on Twitter or whatever, they can say, no, we don't want that one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And
sorry, Stan. Sorry, Stan. What were you saying before? Sorry, if you're still here.
Pretty much the same, really. I guess it's kind of like they're able to sort of curate it, aren't they? And avoid any kind of sort of awkward moments. That's it. I mean, I suppose in one respect, it's good that they're doing it. I think they're kind of feeling. I think ultimately what it boils down to is that they felt the pressure from the fans, from the independent supporters thing that Steve's set up, and the reactive. So I guess if you're going to be really cynical or really harsh, you would say that they're completely all the time reacting. But so the point is now is what questions do we ask? And obviously people will have their own questions, but we've got to ask questions that A, will get through, and B, hopefully the questions will be, the radio leads will be brave enough to ask the difficult questions. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say on that subject, really.
So Steve, I know you're here, so if you've got anything you want to say about this as being the Bradford City independent group, feel free to put a request in. But I personally think this has come off back of the the unofficial fans forum on Monday what I went to, and I think it's seen it on social media, and I think it's going to be running a bit scared here, and something needs to be done. And people might not think it's good, but I think it's good what the club have done. But I think it's going to be one of them where they'll probably get absolutely loads of bad comments, and then obviously they'll get good comments kind of stuff, but they'll probably read the good comments out, but probably not the bad ones. I.e. like Sparks, we want you to go and all that lot, and Roop. But I would love to hear from Stephen Gent actually on his recruitment and how he does it all. It's like, I know we'll get back to this in a bit, but we've been to Middlesbrough again. It's like, that's like Liverpool going to Southampton.
You've got Charlie White from Middlesbrough, if you remember.
No, we got him from...
Carlisle it was.
Carlisle.
Carlisle.
It was Carlisle.
I thought it was Middlesbrough lad, didn't he, I think? I don't know.
So does anybody want to talk about the fan forum from Monday at all? Have you got any thoughts on it or anything? Or
unfortunately, the sound on it was terrible. Couldn't hear anything hardly. It was absolutely awful. Anybody else found that? Couldn't hear a thing.
Yeah, I think they had issues with a mobile phone overheating.
All right.
But I went and I thought it was good, and it does. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day, were it? I think things will motivate.
How many were there, Johnny?
I probably say about 30 people, probably 40. And then I think there was about 500, 600 people watching online.
Right.
But I was just glad to meet people I've not seen in a while, to be honest. It got me out of the house. And on about, I can't remember his name, there was a fan there on about the removing his sponsorship completely from the club due to basically what position we are in not care anymore. Sorry, we've had Michael Brett. Feels like Jamie Rayner will not shy away from difficult questions. Only members of the media, the only member to vend the Latvia club. Tony Christie. I love that name. I always think of I'm on the way to
Amarillo. Joining in there.
Yeah.
What is it? Sleeping on my pillow.
Yeah, be a waste of time there. So just see what happens. And Steve, I know you're listening. Good luck with everything. And obviously I'm a member there, so I just can't wait to see stuff happen and stuff change, and hopefully the club will move forward on stuff. So, moving on a teeny-weeny little bit to the 16,000 capacity ground, what we had at the Doncaster game on Tuesday night. Did people watch on iFollow? Did you go? What's your thoughts? And if it's okay, Stan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I watched it on iFollow. Thought we played well. I'm just amazed that it's taken. I get Alexander's reasoning to a certain degree, but it's taken him so long to put those to start with that sort of team. It was obvious that if you play footballers that can play football, then we play football. And for most parts, I thought we were brilliant. I've been a massive fan of Big Kev since I basically saw him warming up at half time. I turned around to one of my mates and just from him kicking a ball, I said, that is a player. Just the way that he contacted and connected with the ball. And it shows he's got such a footballing brain. I get why he kept him out, because obviously he'd been managing the club for a little while, so he wasn't training. But I just hope that we kind of stick pretty much with that sort of lineup. And not the only thing I would say is I would put Bobby in over Clark every day of the week anyway. So I don't know what Bobby's got to do to get on, and I don't know what Clark's been doing. It must be amazing in training. But I mean, it's nothing against the lad, but I don't. Well, Bobby is one of our star players, so a really good performance. Defended well, and yeah, you know, it's kind of let's hope we see more of that of the rest of the season, really.
And have you got any thoughts on it, Chris? The Doncaster game?
Yeah, I basically match what Stan's saying. Basically, it were all very well set up. First half, we were playing really good football. Jake Young, brilliant. You know, the team that they basically picked was spot on. They were playing absolutely brilliantly all game. And then when he took Jake Young off and put Smith on, all of a sudden it started getting a little bit worrying. But can I reiterate what Stan has said about Kev, Mr. McDonald himself? In that one single game, he has shown how pointless, and I don't know whether to mention his name or not. We all know
where you're going.
But we all know who we're talking about. How pointless he is. With his midfield crossing that don't hit any one of our players. With his corner takings that either go out, go too far, or go too short on it first man. But yes, yep. McDonald were brilliant. Now, I've not been a massive McDonald fan, but I'll tell you now, he run rings round him. He just proved exactly what a footballing mind he's got and what a player he is. So, in tomorrow's game, I know you're coming up with that. Basically, if he puts his, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, his best team out on the pitch, you can't fault them, because they've proved that they can play. But it's all about putting the best team out. When I said that last time, and he had like 4 or 5 on bench that you put in your first team, and we were absolutely shocking. You know, it's just one of them.
Yep. Diane, have you got any thoughts on the Doncaster game? I know you went with your friends.
Yes, I went with my friends. Yeah, it was brilliant. Like I said, Jake Young, it was good to see him back in the City shirt at Valley Parade. He looked happier, but it was a really good game. Cookie, you could tell, annoyed with himself when he got himself sent off, when he walked down tunnel. But yeah, we played brilliantly, and like Chris said, keep a certain person off the pitch and we'd be fine, because we played brilliant without him. Just drop him for a few matches and let Kevin McDonald play in it, because Kev was shouting was not shouting, but saying stuff to the players. I couldn't understand it with his Scottish accent, but he was saying stuff to the players because I heard it all where I was sat. But we played good, and we deserved it. Doncaster were just trying to get every time. Doncaster were just trying to play a bit dirty. That might be my opinion, but yeah, I'm happy we won.
Lee, did you see the game on iFollow?
Did, every minute for a change. I'll just reiterate, Kev MacDonald, just pure class. GA said it in his thing afterwards as well. He was sat up in stand watching it, and I think he got a view that maybe Mr. Smallwood should be worried about, because he was excellent. Jake Young, the thing about Jake Young I liked the most was he went on that pitch and he showed he wanted to play. He didn't shirk anything. He got stuck in. What would it? He played 60 odd, 70 minutes, and then they took him off. Why he brought a door on, I've no idea. Because we dropped a gear when a door come on. It's some touches and stuff, but there's just something lacking. And I thought Jake Young were unlucky not to score, to be honest. I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed it. It's the first time I can say that for a while. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed Kevin MacDonald's performance. Second to none. Country mile, best player on the park.
Yeah, I said Smith. Sorry, Lee, I got it wrong. It wasn't when Smith come on. It was when Adore came on. Adore was just running around like a blue-ass fly yet
just
again.
Gets in people's way, and it does my head in. But Alexander's seen something in him. I don't know.
Can I say headless chicken? Adore.
Yeah, he just is.
No, that's putting us down if you got headless chicken and where the chicken.
No, we're not the headless. We're not the headless chickens. We're chickens on the loose.
Yeah, but he's an headless turkey.
Right, we'll have a headless turkey then.
Right, so my thoughts on the Doncaster game is I thought we played well. Obviously, I agree with you guys. Smallwood, MacDonald was better. The team played well. The reserve team played okay. So my next question to you, before we move on to what everyone's here for, the pre-match AFC Wimbledon chat, is what's your thoughts on the Wickham game? When we play in the EFL, if anyone's just joining, we've actually got Wickham at home in the EFL Trophy, so we'll probably get about, 1,000 people there if we're lucky. So would you stick with that same team for that game, or would you change it about in the start with Stan and obviously work away across?
I think you'd kind of carry on with that team, really, wouldn't you? You'd basically, in a nutshell, yes. I think what Jake Young did as well, and what we don't have too much of, except for when Jamie Walker's fit, is players running at defenders. That kind of, and his pace. We've been a bit ponderous up front, but it's definitely offering options. The thing is, Jake Young could start in the middle. If is Andy Cook's suspension for the semi-final, or is it for the next actual league game as well?
Finals.
If anyone knows that,
it's just for the EFL Cup.
Say again, Johnny.
It's just the EFL Trophy, bud. Right.
Okay. So yeah. Obviously we Cook there. I think I'd stay the same. I think I've not understood. Smallwood's had his good games this season, but they've been few and far between. And I would like to say I'm a massive fan of Kev, so I would have him. And he's got Gilead's legs around him, but if he's at his sort of anywhere near his peak fitness, he's obviously not the fastest, but I think he's been fit enough in the game. If you remember Newport away, he kind of ran the show really, and the ball he put in for Tulloch's goal and so on. His vision is just second to none. So I would stick with that team definitely, and I would, anything off the bench, I would obviously put Bobby on, but stick with the same team.
What about yourself, Diane?
I would stick with the same team because at least we've got Jake Young back, we've got Colin Doyle as well, who had a game. I'll stick with the same team. Obviously, we won't have Cookie in it, but don't put Richie Smallwood on. No way, because we play better. And Gilead as captain was really good. He got more of the ball when we were playing. So I'd stick with the same team, apart from Cookie.
What about yourself, Callie? We're just on about the Wickham game, obviously, in the AFL Trophy. Would you stick with the same team who played in Tuesday's game?
Yeah, absolutely. Keep Young on. Richards, for me, stood out at that game. He were amazing. He were running around like you say, like an headless chicken. Speaking of chickens on the loose, I actually came across quite a lot of them today going to the stables. But that's another story.
Okay, Chris, what about yourself?
Yeah, I do think we've got to stick with the same team. What it is Callie, brilliant with Richards, yeah. And Diane, exactly what you said there were absolutely brilliant. Right, so stick with the same team. Keep Smallwood out completely. And what I'd do is, Ian, is Wright still injured?
Yes, I think he's got a niggle. I think he's back on the grass some point next week. I think Graham Alexander was saying.
He said a couple of weeks for him, didn't he?
Right, okay. So my next one is our new signing Kavanagh. Because I've heard reports on him from a guy that was going to be our what Gent has taken over. Basically, what he said is he liked him at Harrogate, but he's one of these players that will run, and he will run at the goal, basically knowing where it is. So it's a case of if he can come on at a late period in time. Don't get me wrong, I do not like Smith. Edouard. He's basically I know that he's probably good in Ghana or wherever it is, but
he's our loose chicken, isn't he?
He is our loose chicken.
Is our chicken on the loose? Yeah.
He's one that he's probably on loose, but he's only got one leg. Or he's got one wing and he just goes in round and round and round and round in circles. So basically, yes, in answer to your question, I'll simply say keep the same team.
And last but not least, Lee.
They've earned where we are. These players that we're talking about have earned their right to stay in that team. And I think it'd be very wrong if that change was drastic to anybody. I'd leave a door out because I think he's a liability. We've got a new player we can put on bench, haven't we? We need to have a look at him. Apparently he might be available for tomorrow. We don't know. See what Alexander thinks. But I think that team, in essence, has earned the right to take on Wickham without any changes, really, other than Adua. And Smallwood, maybe. Maybe Smallwood would be, don't know.
Yeah, Chris, sorry. Was it Chris or Stan? Stan, sorry?
Stan, sorry, yeah. I was just going to jump in with something, and I know kind of Kev's sort of probably been out and is sort of bringing his fitness, but for me, it shows, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's a little concerning that unless he's like really held him back, but that Graham Alexander doesn't see what the attributes of the players, and doesn't think, sort of sees Kev in training and think that guy can play. Do you know what I mean? And that he's taking him, like playing him he played him in the previous round and he played him then, and again he was just as good in the previous round. So I guess it's down to personal opinion and what you can discern from watching players, but or whether he has a certain system in mind. But it concerns me that it's taken him up to now to kind of see McDonald's attributes for me. Whether he thought, well, the team was performing, but it wasn't, was it? Because we were losing games or drawing, not had a win in however many games. So that's the only thing I would add on that. And again, it's all a matter of opinions. But what you kind of see, what he sees in Clark versus Bobby, because again, Bobby's what Bobby does, he makes things happen. He's direct, but also he's great in terms of like 1-2s with other players. He brings other players.
Got a football brain, and Ado doesn't seem to.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to. I think his international manager sort of said, he kind of plays like almost like within himself or something. And it's like, I'm not sure it's that, whether it maybe is a kind of a reticence, but I think it's also a lot of these players have obviously got skills that make them play, that allow them to play professional football at this level. But what they don't have is either instinct or brains, footballing instincts or brains. And maybe Clark is in that sort of category that he's obviously a half-decent player, because you don't get to play football at any level if you can't kick a ball. But in the sense that Bobby's got that little bit, something extra about him. And I would question then, is Alexander kind of like a safety first manager? Because that mistake that Bobby made at Notts County, like the only mistake he's like made all season, that led to that pretty much we lost a possession near our goal. Whether he's too kind of whether Alexander's too conservative and thinks, right, okay, yeah, he's all right, but he's got a mistake in him. I don't know. I mean, some managers allow for that, don't they? But I don't know Alexander's history or whatever. But that's my thoughts and concerns on that.
Yeah.
So moving now on to the massive game tomorrow, Bradford City versus AFC Wimbledon. The Bantams versus the what they're called.
Wombles.
The Wombles.
The Dons.
The Dons. The
Wombles of Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. My mind went blank for 2 minutes. It's been a long day. So 30 February 2024, kick-off at 3 p.m. live from the University of Bradford Stadium. And the referee is Ross Joyce. What a name. Great name. And thanks for Diane for sending me the referee and stuff. We'll go into detail in that in a couple of minutes.
It's all right. I will find him out for next week as well for you.
So we've played Wimbledon quite a lot, and it goes all the way back to 24th of September 2011 when we lost 2-1 at home, and then 3rd of December 2011 we won 3-1. 13th of March 2012 we lost 3-1. 25th of August 2012 we lost 5-1. Then skipping a few, we're going to go to 2nd of October 2018. We won 1-0. 4th of May 2019 0-0. 24th September 2022 2-2. And then we've had a 0-0 in 2023, and in 2023 again we won 1-0. We've played them, so we've won 6, drawn 3. We've won 6, drawn 3, and they've won 5. We are currently 18th in the league. We've played 29, goal difference of -4, 36 points. AFC Wimbledon are 9th in the league. They've played 28 games, goal difference at 10, and they're on 42. So tomorrow's referee, Ross Joyce, best name in the world. EFL Trophy, he's had 2 appearances, 5 yellow cards. In League One, he's had 10 appearances. He's given out 43 yellow cards, 2 second yellow cards, 1 red card, and he's given out 2 penalties. In League Two, he's had 10 appearances, 45 yellow cards, 4 second yellows, 1 red, and 1 penalty. Altogether, he's had 22 appearances. He's dished out 93 yellow cards. He's given out 6 second yellows. He's given 2 red cards out, and he's given 3 penalties. So we are now going to go back to... We'll go to Diane. We'll jazz it up a little bit. Diane, so with the team tomorrow, how would you start your team tomorrow?
I'd probably start Walker in goal, Halliday, Tomkinson. You've got me thinking now. I'd probably nearly play the same team nearly as Tuesday night. I know it sounds awful. Keep Smold out. I'd put Kavanagh up. Drop Cookie to the bench for a bit and see what happens. But I'd probably do like nearly the same team as Tuesday night, apart from Doyley. Let Sam Walker be back in goal. I just can't be bothered to name the players. My mind's just gone blank.
Callie?
Yeah, same. I'd keep same team as. I know it's a cup game and it's not. It's a league game and not a cup game, but that team looked amazing on the pitch. Richard, I'd have Richards on me. I thought he was brilliant.
Okay, and Stan the man.
Yeah, pretty much what was said is like keep that same team. I think going on to the referee, with that amount of cards, I would question with those a lot of those at the start of the season where referees were dishing out cards like Sweets. But what that suggests to me is that potentially he can lose the game in mid game when you sort of like say the referee's lost control and he starts dishing out cards because I mean. It's obviously his interpretation of things. So what I would say is we obviously have to be careful. Either that or just use it to an advantage and kind of play like plenty of sort of shithousing, as I say, and basically, sort of. So that it's concerning with those amount of cards that he's dished out. But same team.
And what about yourself? Oh, sorry, Callie, you got your hand up, love.
Can we just check who when we had the first game of the season and we played Crawley away, who was the ref for that game? Because he was the worst one I've seen all season.
Do you want me to go on EFL appointments while I'm on my iPad and have a look and see if I can get it back that far?
Yeah, go for it.
We need to check what his name is, don't we, for when he pops up again at some point, because he will do, won't he?
And so while Dan's doing that, we're just going to cross over to
Dan.
Chris. I said Dan, didn't I?
No, you said Dan.
Drysdale's our worst.
Yeah.
Hey up.
Yeah, sorry. So Dan, while you go and do that, my mind is not with it today.
Yeah.
Chris, Chris, what's your thoughts?
I'm in agreement with same sort of team. We've got to make a few changes because we don't want to mess up the cup game when that comes. But I wouldn't put Smallwood on. I'd keep as it was. I'd probably, as was said, I think Diane said it. I'd drop Cook, put Kavanagh on. But I'll tell you what I would change. I would put Poynton on as a start, just to make a point, as it were. He's brilliant, and he's got to play. I don't know why GA is not playing him, and I'll tell you now, that is one question I'm going to put to West Yorkshire Sport. He's got to go on, and like Wilson, why is he not playing? I don't get it. With some of the guys we've got, Chapman is brilliant at the moment. His free kick against anyway, I'm losing my mind. His free kick was spot on. It was well placed. It was outstanding. But that's about it. Our team, that one that played on Tuesday night, I'm not sure about Wimbledon because they've always been one of those teams that I don't know whether it's because they've had taller players that just muscle us out and stuff. But come on, we've got some big lads there. We can take them day in, day out. We've just got to be on game. And it takes me back to he's got to pick our best team for the game. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Diane, you got your hand up, love?
Yeah, just to say Thomas Parsons. That's what referee on when we played Crawl. Plus, as well, don't forget, Wimbledon have sold their highest goal scorer to Ipswich this week.
Yeah, that's the Iraqi player, innit? I can't remember his name.
Ali Ahmed or something like that.
So that referee you're on about, Thomas Parsons, he's had 2 appearances. So altogether, he's had 14 appearances. He's dished out 68 yellow cards, 1 red card. Sorry, 1 second yellow, 1 red card, and he's given 1 penalty.
So we'll keep an eye out for him at Valley Parade next time.
Yep. Right. So what's on the next on the list? Right. Transfers, ins and outs. I've had a shit transfer window, or I've had an alright transfer window. And just basically, if you want to let a little bit of steam off, we'll start off with Diane, and we'll go all the way across again.
Well, getting Jake Young back, that's been a good transfer window, keeping him as well. You know, I was upset that they got rid of Harry, but I've got over that now. Getting rid of Osiderby and Oliver have done well. Bringing that Kevin out, we've got to see what he's like. And Tyreek Wright, with him being injured, we need to see him back on the pitch, and I think we'll have a good team. So it's been an okay transfer window for me, I think, apart from Harry.
Callie?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've got rid of the players that we needed to get rid of. I think I would have liked to have seen a couple more like kind of Jamie Walker people, because we're really struggling without Jamie Walker right now.
Yep.
But overall, I don't think we could have done any better than we've done, really, to be fair.
Stan?
Well, it was all about tweaking it, really, innit, rather than wholesale, because I think agreeing that we've got rid of a couple of players, or at least somebody like Oliver's gone because he's wanted game time and he wasn't going to get that. And I would like to have seen Tulloch kind of a little bit more. He did play well in games. I don't know how he's trained, or whether, you know, kind of like players of that age just have that kind of inconsistency in training. But overall, I think, there's not a lot I would have done differently. I don't know what this lad's like. I hope he's obviously good, and obviously I think we'll have to just sort of check him out, because he'll be inconsistent as a young lad. Overall, I think, because he's talked about having a bloated squad, so bringing loads more players in were never going to happen. So, I'd say it's not been a good one or a bad one. It's just been probably middle of the road, what's needed to be done.
So on with Tulloch, if people don't know or do know, obviously he got sent back yesterday to West Bromwich Albion, and then poor bugger thinks his day couldn't get any worse. He got released by West Brom exactly the same day. It's one of them where I think Bradford City can make it or break you, the club, when you come in as a loan deal. And I personally think the club has broken him. So his confidence was shot and stuff like that. But it's a very not fair decision, in other words, to release him. Just might not have been good enough. But then obviously we've brought in Sam Walker back up for first choice. Tariq Wright, I think personally that was a bit of a PR stunt to get people, try to motivate people. I'm glad Young stayed, and I think a few other players should have left, like Ash Taylor and Rydal. I don't know how long they've got left on the deals and stuff, but see what happens in the summer. Chris, what's your thoughts about the ins and outs of Bradford City's transfer window?
I'm a bit like you, to be honest with you, mate. In my honest opinion, I don't want to say Ash Taylor. I'm going to say F word. Mess it up again, ever. You've got Tulloch. When I've seen him, he's played quite well, but it's Alexander's sort of choice. It's the same thing as Poynton. Why won't he play these players? I don't get that side of GA's appointment. But we'll see.
News come through. My dad actually messaged me. Charlie White, former of Bradford City, has gone and joined Rotherham on loan. So a bit of news there. I know that was 19 hours ago, but
wow.
Yeah. So Charlie White has gone to Rotherham. Right. This is Diane and Callie's favourite part of the show, and it's sponsored by Chickens Crossing the Road, and it's the weather forecast for tomorrow's game. So, the weather tomorrow is going to be all right-ish. It's going to be cloudy with a bit of sun. The highest it's going to get is between 10 degrees. The lowest it's going to get 7. It's going to be a bit sunny with a bit of cloud. And that's really tomorrow's shitty weather forecast. Is anyone else that got anything they want to say?
Yeah. Sorry, Johnny. Don't know if anyone else was speaking there, but I made a point the other day, and it's just more of an overall kind of zooming out angle. But assuming the status quo is going to stay the same with regards to the ownership and the CEO situation, I think for me, I was really frustrated after the Swindon game. And I made the point that, as I see it, Ryan Sparks has got to make a decision on whether he's building a squad around Alexander or building a manager around the squad that we have. Because for most part, Alexander's shown that he has a particular industrial style of play that doesn't really suit our squad for most, except that when we actually play football. So my view is, and I know it's not going to happen sort of like now, and it's probably not going to happen, but that was me just kind of like having a view on that. And so I would ask to everyone else, what's your thoughts? Because it looks like we're probably going to have another summer clear out and bringing in a certain type of player. But, what's your thoughts, everyone else?
I think personally some of the team will go in the summer. And personally, I would get rid of Ride Hall, Taylor, and just try to make the squad better. I don't know what it is, but the team we had did, Smallwood. The team did really well in getting to the playoffs, and all of a sudden it just went absolute Pete Tong, and I just don't know why. I don't know if it's confidence thing. It's like I know we've discussed it in past things with like Cookie getting mad, shouting at people and stuff like that, and just basically losing his rag a little bit. And we've got so Lee, you should be able to hear us again. Well,
yeah, I was listening. I've been here all the time.
So have you got any thoughts, like what Stan was saying?
I agree with most of the team, but the person I feel most sorry for out of outgoings is Tulloch. Must have brought the kids out, but I don't think it was Bradford's fault. I think it was stated that they didn't want him back. So I kind of half expected him to maybe take a punt and try and keep him till end of the season at least, so they could have a proper look at him. Good feet. Haven't done much wrong. Scored a decent goal when he got on the end of a ball, we mentioned, from K-Mac. Who knows? Could have missed a player there. Wouldn't be the first time, would it, at Bradford?
Yeah. So, has anyone got anything else to want to say?
I'm quite interested to know whether the independence group are still going to go ahead with their it's like a petition, really, isn't it? Where they get getting people's forms. Be interesting to know if they're still going to go ahead with that. Now we know we've got a proper fan. Well, we say a proper fans forum. It's not really, but yeah.
Anybody else?
I'd say just good luck for tomorrow. Yeah. Basically, it's going to be an hard game, isn't it? It is.
It's always tough against Wimbledon. You mentioned physicality, and that's what we have to overcome.
Exactly. But I think, again, if he puts the good team out, I think we've got it in bag. It's just when others come on, like your Odoa, it just puts it into disrepute. So let's try have a good game at home. Let's have a good, strong game at home. And let's come out victorious.
And starting with Diane and working we've got Steve here. Steve, can you hear us?
I can hear you fine, thank you. I've just come on to answer Kelly's question. I did come on just as a football supporter, as a Bradford supporter tonight, rather than an independent fans group. But I'll give you the answer to your question, Kelly. Nothing's changed. The reality is our members have basically asked us to pursue that action. That carries on. We've had close up to coming up to about 500 signatures now and comments for Mr. Rupp, and they will go off to Germany next Thursday.
So have you got the amount that you need, Steve?
There was two things, Kelly. First of all was members. Members, we're pushing up to about 700 members now. So we want to try and get to about 800. So we're getting close on that. And then the official forum with Stefan Rupp in attendance, as I said, we're going up to about 500 signatures now.
Does anybody know if Stefan Rupp is actually going to physically be there, or is he doing it through Zoom or something?
To be honest with you, I don't think he's going to be there, Lee.
No, I don't.
In terms of our request, it's twofold strategy, really. One is we want him to be aware of fan comments about what they're thinking at the moment, and there are many, and they're all very polite and respectful. There's no, there's no kind of like spite in there, etc. They're genuine questions from fans who just want to know what his intentions are, and I won't allow a situation where comments are rude or disrespectful or wrong ones, because that's just embarrasses us as fans. And regardless of your views at the moment in terms of our fan base, we all support the club and we all love the club. I mean, I'm 30 plus years now.
100%.
And I really do support it. I really love the club. I'm in a position now which I've been put into, where I'm trying to represent supporters and get their questions answered. That's all I'm. The rest of it, I'm not interested in. I'd rather just go to the pub on a Saturday, meet my mates, go watch the game, go home. That's it.
Yeah.
Kelly, you got your hand up, love?
Yeah, Steve, do you think that doing what you've done has made the club actually take this action that they're doing now?
Callie, I think that's a $1 million question, isn't it, love? I mean, the reality...
I just want your opinion, that's all. I just want to know what you think about it.
So I'm fully aware that Ryan Sparks is reading everything on social platforms right now. I'm fully aware that he knows who I am, and I'm fully aware that he basically sees what we're doing as a flash in the pan. I'm fully aware that he doesn't think fans would mobilise and get organised. That's what I'm aware of right now.
But do you think he's done it for that reason or not? A yes or no answer?
Well,
in your opinion,
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. But Callie, would you not say right now? I'm just playing devil's advocate. But we held the forum. we had pretty much about 40 odd people who came in per person, and then we had up to over 750 at one point watching. And then we've obviously taken actions from members, and we've put that one, published it. And then we've built a online social campaign, which has basically made people aware. Would you say it's kind of, timing? The timing is kind of, should we say, curious that the club have made this announcement?
Well, yeah, I did say that if you were listening earlier, I did say earlier that I think it's come off the back of something like this. I think it's one of the reasons why the club are taking action now, but they're doing it as like we've said before, they're not actually having fans involved. They're just going to read a few emails and think, oh yeah, we'll answer that question, which isn't to me a proper fans forum.
It is very much a knee-jerk thing, isn't it? That's what it looks like.
We've put a post out on Twitter. We'll kind of reflect that onto Facebook in a short while. I've been travelling, so I didn't hear a lot of it. I kept losing signal, which is why I haven't spoken earlier. But we've put a post out, which basically just announces our disappointment because we don't see it as a fans forum, and we think it's a box ticking exercise with their charter, which requires them to hold 2 fans forums per season. Now, the reality is this is not a fan forum in the truest sense, as in it's in a closed studio with questions that will come in. I've got full confidence in Jamie Rayner that he will basically kind of do his job. But the reality is that we don't really know what questions that they're going to be answering and what they're not prepared to answer. And call me sceptical. There's many people who are sceptical about what we're trying to do. That's fine. I respect all opinions. I genuinely do. But I think it's a cop out, to be fair, with respect.
I think they're going to cherry pick any answers and questions anyway. So just see when it goes.
I see, Stan, you got your hand up. Sorry.
Yeah, it was just a question to Steve because he wasn't speaking earlier, and I raised the point. Just in case you didn't hear my point earlier, Steve, was for me, Sparks. One thing I was kind of observing in my mind's eye of what Sparks needs to do. Let's assume that Sparks and Rook, the status quo is going to be the same. Is whether he needs to build a team around Alexander or build a manager around the team in the summer or in the near future or mid-future, because for me we've got like an incongruent manager with the players that we have, and myself personally I would build a manager around the squad that we have with obviously kind of evolving exceptions, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I think that we have gone through too many managers in a relatively short period of time. I think that what's happened then is that you bring a new manager in and you've got remnants of an old strategy or a previous manager's strategy. I think it's time to lay down some roots. We can't keep going through managers because it's the stability that we seek is not there. The other side of things as well, Stan, is that the reality is that when you're trying to attract players to a club like ours and you see then that there are different managers coming through the door with different kind of strategies and approaches, how can we say that we're an attractive proposition to them? Because I don't think we are. So I think I'm in agreement.
So we're not.
Well, then you've got to start then saying to a manager, look, right, okay, let's get on with it. We've given you a contract. This is what we want. This is the kind of style of football that fans of our club like and get behind. Get on with it. I was astonished that I've seen some fans calling for GA to go right now, but we're in still a relatively short period since he's arrived, and I don't, and that's my own personal opinion as a fan, not as a supporters group.
I agree with you. So many managers.
But we can't. I mean, look, the reality is there's been rumours about deficits in budgets. Is that because of the previous kind of managers' payouts that we've had to do, which we're legally obliged to when they go? I don't know, but I think, right now, Bradford City at this point needs stability, consistency, and to get the Valley Parade rocking again. It's as simple as that.
I think, yeah, I mean, I agree pretty much with what you said there, but my sentiment and when I'm posing that question is that I'm assuming that that there would be a plan in place, whichever way. So I'm kind of trying to think the best case scenario, and it was probably frustration after the weekend, but I think I'd say it's built up from the fact that. Sort of like the tactics over the last sort of X amount of games has been, for me, left wanting, and the fact that he's not recognised the talent that he's got within the squad.
Stan, I don't think he knows what his best side is at the moment, because if you look at his kind of team sheets from what you term as normal league matches versus cup matches, in cup matches he seems to be more willing to put on what you term as attacking flair. You've seen obviously Poynton come in, etc., etc. But for whatever reason, we get to the match day and we go then back to kind of, a mixture of long ball and then wayward passing.
Yeah.
And I as a supporter, I look at it and go, oh, gee. And you'll know within the first 10 minutes of watching the game what kind of, what kind of route we're going to adopt.
I think that's it, really, and I think that's my sort of frustration. And I agree in terms of like changing managers, the whole stability thing, and that is a very valid point. It's just I think it's probably frustration on my part, but I think it's kind of if I were in that sort of position, I would be like, do I trust this person? With the vision that, I mean, again, we're assuming that there is a vision within the club, which we kind of assume, or we kind of come to the conclusion that there isn't. But let's assume that there is. And I think we probably we have obviously missed the boat with this guy at MK Dons. I mean, the other side of that argument was, well, if Sparks has been listening to the fans, I mean, the fans were booing like Hughes' team when they were doing a sideways pass or a back pass, so this guy was never going to stand a chance. Personally, I hope that, obviously, we are going to be with GA, and I think, for me, he's got to kind of really work out what his best side is and kind of be more observant of like who the best players are to kind of carry out that. And I don't know what his philosophy is overall. Like, I don't pay any attention to any other club, any other manager, any other player. When we sign a player, I'm like, no idea who he is, don't know if he's going to be good or not. So I couldn't sort of say what Alexander's form is in that respect. But at the moment, I'm not convinced. I like him, but I'm just not convinced. But I agree that there's an air of stability that we need. It's just, for me, having the best squad we've had for a while, because I would argue that this has been the best squad for a while, regardless of what's gone on this season. For me, it's either two ways of looking at last season. Either the recruitment was good, or if it wasn't, Hughes did a bloody good job of getting a substandard squad to miss out in a playoff semi-final. So you kind of have to decide which way, sort of thing. But I think
just on your point there, Stan. If we look at last season, the biggest challenge that we had was that we were inconsistent, especially at the back end of the season when we needed to basically kind of put wins together, etc. We were throwing away games in some cases, and I think some of that has carried over to this season. I mean, I'm trying to think back to some of the games where we should have won and we haven't, and I think Graham has kind of he's kind of identified that we lack this ruthless edge, and I think we need to recreate that. And I said earlier in our members chat, Andy Cook seems to be getting more and more frustrated as each match goes by, and I think we've just got to work out. Look, we know that if we get balls into the box, that Andy Cook is lethal there. He will basically kind of go for those things, but he can't hold off 2-3 central defenders who are all over him. So if you're trying to put balls up to him like that, he's not going to be able to. After a bit, he's just going to get bored of it. But as soon as we get Rideout, or we get basically kind of Halliday crossing balls into the box, we get good results. We get goals from it. And then obviously the set piece thing is a whole other story, but I just think he's got to be brave as Alexander and start going for the throat of these people by naming the sides that can do that. And Poynton, he's one of those players who can do that. Chapman definitely is. He's shown already, hasn't he, what he can do. I just think we've got to be brave with these people.
Sorry, Johnny. I think he's kind of. I would say that he's been conservative up to now with his choices, even though he's kind of trying to instill certain ways or certain of his ethics into the side, which every man is going to do. I agree. I think the Cook, we got so much out of Cook last season because even though for some people we overpassed it or whatever, we did it from either a melee in the box or getting balls into the box, whether it was, whatever the source was, like Scott Banks or Tyreek Wright or whoever it was at the time. And so, yes, I agree. I think it's got to be a case of we've got this striker who's not big Jim Hansen, who's going to basically, sort of hold it up. He has his own attributes. He's lethal in the box and getting him and getting the team further up. And in sort of like position, or moving the pawn, the chess pieces into place for him to actually have that sort of that opportunity to score.
So, Steve, do you know, because I went to the fans forum on Monday, and I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes. It's going to start winding down. Did you get quite a lot of traction then from the fans forum on Monday, from the Latvian club?
Members went up by, I think we acquired 350 new members from that, from that event, shall we say. So for us, it was successful. At the end of the day, we need a mandate to be able to kind of approach the club and act upon our supporters' behalf. Some supporters don't want us. That's fine. I'm not here to kind of argue with supporters. I'm a supporter myself. I want what's best for the club. But the fact is, it was a good event. We managed to get Jamie Rayner there, as it's well documented, who I had conversations with and did an interview with. And then we've got some actions which have been kind of been put out there. I don't think that the kind of walkout aspect of things is going to happen yet, because we're still pursuing the kind of the Stefan Rupp aspect of things. But we felt it was good. We heard a lot of things from fans. There was a harrowing story about one of our sponsors who. A player left and he got told that we'll just find you another player, and didn't really relate, and he was pretty angry about it. No kind of apology from the club. They just made an assumption that they'll just move his money to somewhere else. So there was a couple of horror stories that came out of it, but generally, a lot of positivity came out of it. Would we like more people there? Of course, yeah, we would. But we started somewhere. That's all it is. We started somewhere. We organised something with the City event, and we got to see some fans and listen to their viewpoints. And then we've taken those and we've tried to put actions in place. And now we'll see. We'll make mistakes like everybody, but generally we're trying to mobilise and we're trying to do positive action based on what our members want us to do.
How many members are you up to now altogether?
I think it's nearly 700 at the moment.
Okay. So for people around the world who obviously listen to this podcast, if you want to go on bradfordindependentfans.co.uk, sign up, register, get Steve and his Bradford City Independent Fans group to 1,000. And before we do disappear, score predictions for tomorrow, Diane?
I'm saying 2-0.
Callie?
I'm going 2-0, Young and Cook to score.
Steve?
I'm really positive about tomorrow, actually. I think it'll be 2-0 as well, and I thought our new lad might score tomorrow because I think he'll get a game.
Stan?
14-0.
Forgot about Stan. Stan likes to sit on the fence. It doesn't really give us a normal correct score or anything. So you think 14-0, Stan?
Yes.
That'd be a record, that. So I'm just going to mute everybody. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming along today. If you like what you're hearing, we are now Bradford City Chickens on the Loose on Spotify and other social sites around the world. Also, give us a follow on YouTube, Braysodge1, BRAYSOJ1. I'm so close to 500 and making some money off stuff. And also, there's Bradford City Up the Chickens on Facebook. Thank you for coming along today. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Have a good weekend, and up the chickens.
As glory days. So let's all rally.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built. 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.